One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
I believe we had a very productive meeting. There were many, many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say. We really made some great progress today. I'm going to start making a few phone calls and tell them what happened. But we had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. I would like to thank President Putin and his entire team. We're going to stop thousands of people a week from being killed, and President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon.
Meanwhile,
I'll go back to the meanwhile part, because that in itself, I want you to go back a couple days, and you're going to miss something because nobody really reported on it. You see, there was a lot of stuff on X that showed President Trump getting off Air Force One at about 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if you guys have seen those videos or those pictures where he was getting off the plane at 4 o'clock in the morning. And Rob and I were looking at that the next day, and we're like, what do you mean he's getting off the plane at 4 o'clock in the morning? The flight times didn't correlate. They didn't make sense. It doesn't take that long to get from Alaska to Washington, D.C. Did he stop somewhere? Why does it seem like there was a 2 or 3 hour gap or something there between his flight from Alaska to the time he walked off Air Force One? And there was no explanation anywhere, except one person said something who happened to be on the plane. And when I heard and saw the answer to that, because nobody was talking about it, oh, here's President Trump getting off the plane. Oh, okay, great. He's back home. Man works hard. You guys see what time it was? Do you wonder what happened? Did he stop? Did he go someplace? No. Only one person I saw talk about it, and that was Jack Posobiec, and who was on the plane. And he said President Trump stayed on the plane conversing and having talks with all the world leaders and Zelensky until he felt it was time to get off the plane. Nobody talked about that. Every single person in the media, you'll hear, they're screaming, they're whining, they're complaining, but nobody talked about that. Wait a second. He stayed on the plane talking all night until 4 o'clock in the morning? Yep. Why would he have done that? I don't know. Maybe it was he couldn't do it in the car because he was worried about communications. It was, the White House, the Air Force One has a skiff, basically, that he felt he was comfortable talking. He had all his people around him, Rubio and Witkoff and whoever else. But nobody talked about that. You go ahead. You can go look around, see if anybody talked about him making calls to the wee hours in the morning on Air Force One. Nope, because they couldn't wait to run with their narrative. They couldn't wait to run with their narrative that nothing happened. It was a complete nothing burger. Nothing is going to happen. Or conversely, Putin owned him. All the stories they wanted to put out there. And what was very interesting is that you all saw it. Those of you guys who sat with me, you saw everything that happened. The same time that they saw what happened. They weren't in the room. They had no leaks. Nobody was telling them stuff. But as soon as the thing was over, as soon as the mini press conference statement was over, they went right into spin mode. But they forgot you were watching. And so even Robin was like, were they watching the same thing we were watching? Didn't seem like it. See, they count on people being ignorant. They count on people not seeing it so they can tell you what actually happened when they don't even know themselves. Every single one of you could have held a CNN microphone and said more information to the audience than Caitlin Collins or anybody else did, because they didn't know anything more than you did. But they rushed to get their narrative out. I think you probably saw that. Why did they do that? Why did they rush to get their narrative out? Well, I'm going to answer that in regards to my opinion. My opinion. My opinion is, not only did something happen, but they knew it happened, and they were pissed off that it wasn't revealed to them. And because of that, they decided they were going to lie, because this is the last vestige of the deep state and the Democrat Party. This thing happens tomorrow, as many expect it to happen. If this thing happens tomorrow, it's done. And what I mean by that is deep state, done. Oh, they'll still fight. They'll still fight with their agonal breaths trying to hang on, but it's over. They can do anything they want, but they can't stop him. And they know it. You have to know it. You have to feel confident. You have to know confident enough to let all the naysayers tell him to screw off. They can't stop him. And so now the only thing that can stop this is the little idiot from Ukraine, Zelensky. And that guy right now probably has the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's not making his own decisions. Somebody is telling him, you're going to have to do this or else. And I have an idea, and hopefully by the end of today, you'll have an idea of what may happen tomorrow. So I'm going to take you through what I saw yesterday and today and give you my picture as to what I believe. See, I'm not going to tell you, because just like them, I don't know, but they're going to try to tell you that they do know. They don't know crap. We all know nothing. We can see, and if people honestly report what they see, there's a big difference between their narrative and what's actually happening. So I want to take you through chronologically what happened this morning, because I think this is important for everyone to digest. All right, so President Trump this morning at 9:03 began posting on X. This is, as you can see, August 17th, 9:03, this morning. It's incredible how the fake news violently distorts the truth when it comes to me. There's nothing I can say or do that would lead them to write or report honestly about me. I had a great meeting in Alaska on Biden's stupid war, a war that should have never happened. He quickly followed that up, I believe, like 10 minutes later, 8 minutes later, and says, if I got Russia to give up Moscow as a part of the deal, the fake news and their partner, the radical left Democrats, like I've said, they're one and the same, would say I made a terrible mistake and a very bad deal. That's why they are the fake news. Also, they should talk about the 6 wars I just stopped. They won't. Then he posted again, and he posted this at 9:16, literally 5 minutes later. Big progress on Russia. Stay tuned, Donald John Trump. Big progress on Russia. And that then set the world ablaze in the world of media and Sunday shows. And so we're going to go through some of what happened today early. And then I got a whole bunch of stuff, I wasn't able to do yesterday because we've been doing a whole bunch of stuff, getting the new studio stuff ready. But it'll probably be a couple weeks before we're done. But I got a whole bunch stored up for you today. But before I begin, let me talk to you today about this show's main sponsor. Boom, here we go. It's Take Lean. Are you a yo-yo dieter? You diet to lose weight, but then you gain it all back, plus even some extra pounds. Then later, you lose it and regain it again, and again, and again. That is a dangerous cycle to be in, and studies show that it can increase your risk of heart attack, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and other health problems. Breaking free of your yo-yo diet pattern is a main reason doctors created Lean. Lean is a supplement, not an injection, and you don't need a prescription. The science behind Lean is impressive. It studied natural ingredients, targeting weight loss in 3 powerful ways. Lean helps maintain healthy blood sugar. If you guys know anything about blood sugar, that's very important, especially as you're getting older. It also helps control appetite and cravings. And it helps burn fat by converting fat into energy. If you're tired of losing weight and gaining it back and going through that cycle over and over again, if you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace with no tricks, no fad diets, Lean was created for you. Let me get you started with a 20% off discount when you enter Barry20 at takelean.com. That's code Barry20 at takelean.com. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through some stuff, and I want you to listen intently as to what some of these people say. But the big thing I'd like you to realize is as you're listening to these people talk, understand they know nothing more than you do. They pontificate, they got their big studios, they got the big network, but they don't know anything more than you do. And when you listen from that perspective, you're going to realize, man, these people were boneheads, absolute boneheads. So let's continue.
He's no longer isolated. He's got his summit. He got his ride in the limo. He got the red carpet. And what we're hearing today is that the ceasefire is not on the table. And Russia, as you pointed out, is escalating its attacks.
Well,
that was this morning. That was this morning that she said that. It's a complete lie. Just straight up looking in the camera, sitting around a table with a bunch of people. There's no ceasefire because President Trump actually posted, we're skipping that and we're going directly to the agreement. They know that. They read it, but they don't want to tell people. That tells you this is the last vestiges of this media. She absolutely lied right there.
Fact. And then also, Trump is so often shaped by the coverage of what he sees. And if there is this coverage that he came to this summit and it was a failed summit because it didn't.
But I hope Caitlin Collins is absolutely right that the reaction around the world to this kind of optics triumph for Vladimir Putin will enrage Donald Trump, or at least annoy him enough that he will support more sales of the military. You're absolutely right. It is through those sales to the Europeans that they are transferred to Ukraine, but there has to be.
That is a sitting senator of the United States openly hoping that the President of the United States was embarrassed by what happened in Alaska, and by his embarrassment, it encourages him to increase war. He just said that. I hope he was so embarrassed, and Caitlin Collins was right, who made up every word that came out of her mouth, because she was standing there and watched the exact same thing we did. I'm like, what do you mean? And then this guy goes on television and says, yeah, he was embarrassed. And because he was embarrassed putting on a red carpet and shaking his hands, now what he should do is come back and sell more weapons. Keep the war going. Am I in some sort of Twilight world? I mean, we knew the Democrats were bat poop crazy, but are we in some sort of Rocky Horror Picture Show time warp? Because from the people in the 60s who saying, let's give peace a chance, we have Democrats saying, keep the war going and keep killing in Washington, D.C. And I'm wondering, is this a big, giant episode of Punk'd? Because everywhere I look, I'm like, this can't be real. It can't possibly be real. I can't be watching protests of all white people in a black city who don't even live there saying, get the National Guard out of here. None of this is making sense. I feel like I walked into some sort of alternate reality. A senator saying, give him more bombs. The media saying he's embarrassed. I don't get it. What the hell does this party stand for? They don't stand for peace. They don't stand for safety. Oh, we got to rethink safety. The media reports complete BS. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't, well, I know I'm not the only person, but what in the hell is wrong with Democrat voters? How do you guys not see the gaslighting that they're putting upon you? A sitting senator saying, we want more war.
Be more production of them in the United States, and the kind of sanctions against China, India, Brazil that will convince them they should stop buying Russian oil and gas, which would cripple Putin's economy. The way to stop fueling that war machine.
You were an advisor.
Here's why they're having a problem with Putin. And again, it's my opinion, but I don't know. I watched the movie Monsters, Inc. And when you watch the movies Monsters, Inc. with John Goodman playing the big guy and Billy Crystal playing the little guy, they were making money in a form of, the little things that they got by going into people's closets and scaring them. Ah! Oh, good one, man. Good one. That's the media today. That's the Democrats. They're going into your closet and they're screaming at you. And their only objective is to make more money by keeping people scared. And then if you realize at the end of Monsters, Inc., when the bad monsters got found out and thought they were out of business, then some people said, a laughter is more valuable than a cry. And so that once the monsters came out from underneath the bed, people were more prosperous, i.e. the monsters. What you're looking at right now is them realizing at this point their big woolly monster that they have waved in front of the American people for decades, literally decades, is about to be shown to be a big woolly teddy bear. They can't, how could you shake hands with him? Oh my God, he could have bit your fingers off. A red carpet, oh no, it's what happens? What will happen when Russia is no longer the bad guy? That's something that alone is going to devastate them. Who becomes the enemy? Because right now, and for the, as far as I can remember, somehow it changed from China, and somehow it changed from other countries, especially the ones over in the Middle East, because we all brought them all over here. The number one enemy of the world, the number one, bar none, was Vladimir Putin. And if you dared challenge that, you were called Putin's puppet. You got Putin's gonads on your face. But I'm like, he hasn't done anything, man. He hasn't done anything to us. How can we have an arch enemy that shakes hands and smiles with our president? It's very hard to keep up the illusion of the monster in the closet when you're looking at the monster and he's smiling. I'm like, that don't look scary. Oh, he's KGB. He'll kill you in a heartbeat. But he hasn't done anything. And he gets along with our president. What in the hell? I'm like, what are we talking about? And so as you're watching this, you're realizing that's what's going on. Their monster isn't a monster anymore, and they're trying to keep telling you, oh, he's a monster. You don't even know. This dude's a monster. He's KGB. He's killed. He's a butcher. Except there's no meat. And meanwhile, for the last 10 years, we've been killing people. We've been blowing stuff up. How do you think other nations look at us? But you're pointing at this guy over there, and right now, we're about to turn the angry screams into laughs and smiles, and they can't take it because they know it ends the Democrat Party. They know it ends the deep state. And this is what you're watching, in my opinion, right now, are people just trying to hold on with agonal breathing. If you don't know what agonal breathing is, go look it up. But it's that breath, that big breath people take right before they die. And that's what I feel we're seeing.
During that infamous Helsinki summit in 2018, you've spoken about that in the past. I wonder what you think about how this Alaska summit compared.
All right, Margaret Brennan is probably one of the most insufferable people on the planet. And she's talking to this other woman who happened to be in the Helsinki negotiation, whatever she did, and notice the word that comes out of her mouth. Because when that word comes out of her mouth, you might want to just change the channel or do something. She goes, hey, what do you think about what you saw? Why do I care what she thinks about what I saw? You saw. We all saw the same thing. But she's asking this woman, who none of us has any clue about, hey, so what do you think about what you saw?
Well, obviously quite different in many respects. Part of it was the fact that they decided to skip the one-on-one meeting and the lunch. I mean, these are usually part of the sort of set of summits like this. And the press conference obviously was more of an announcement or a set of announcements, presentations by both leaders, much more by President Putin and more of a commentary by President Trump. So there wasn't that free-for-all of press questions, which I'm sure was a bit disconcerting for you and others who were present there at Alaska. But the optics weren't exactly great as Congress...
Okay, so she's mad, and she's explaining what you saw wasn't good. It was different, but it wasn't good as far as she's concerned. As if you care what her thoughts are on this. I don't even think you care about mine. I'm talking about your own thoughts. What did you see? Well, I saw two guys exchanging pleasantries, and I saw them outside, and they like chummed like buddies, and they watched the bomber fly overhead. What, did you see something different? Because to them, walking away without a deal, oh my God, what happened here? We weren't told anything. That's because you're on a need-to-know basis.
Crow has laid out for the United States and for President Trump again. I mean, again, different. But although it was presented as perhaps a show of power by being at a U.S. Air Force base with the flight passing of the B-52s and other fighter jets, it did certainly look much more like a show of appreciation for Vladimir Putin. And so the...
You got to feel sorry for the people who tune into this crap thinking they're getting news. It was actually what it was. It was a show of appreciation for Vladimir Putin. How the hell did you twist that? Those are our beautiful planes. That's a B-2 stealth bomber. Hey, Vlad, check that out. How did you get it that it was this? That it was a supplication? Because they need the monster in the closet. If that monster's not in the closet, everything they say on a daily basis completely falls apart. Once you realize that if they don't have a monster to sell you, they're done. because they can't sell happiness. They can't sell prosperity. They definitely can't sell safety. So what else they gotta sell? What can you imagine waking up Tuesday morning and there's a peace deal had been done on Monday? Where's the monsters? Where is the monster for them to sell when they can't say Putin, 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 Russia's coming, Russia, 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 Russia? What happens to them? They've made their bones. This is their entire ideology is based upon Russia being bad. And Ukraine, well, we're going to find out about Ukraine. That's another reason why they're probably afraid.
Optics were really much more favourable to Putin than they were to the United States. It really looked like Putin had set the agenda there, the narrative, and in many respects the tone for the whole summit meeting.
Can you name...
I play these things so you can hear them, because you hear them, you probably go, what in the hell are they talking about? Oh, Putin set the tone. He was the boss. he whooped Trump's butt. Yeah. I'm sorry. I consider myself a little bit perceptive, and I'm like, one guy flies in, he's on his plane. One guy flies in, he's on his plane. They both come down their ramps. Yeah, they see each other, they smile. What's up, bro? And they come up together on the red carpet, and they get a nice handshake. And then once they have the handshake, they come up to that thing, and they do a photo op. And hey, look up there, bro. Yeah, oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, Donald. And they saw that and went, he was, bowing down. I don't want to beat the dead horse, but I think you guys are realizing at this point they had to go into death mode here. The Death Star landed in Alaska, and that Death Star didn't blow up anything, didn't kill anybody, and oh my God, they might make a deal.
Any concessions that Vladimir Putin made during this meeting? Have any
I wouldn't name him on your program.
Have any concessions?
Oh, think I'd tell you? Boy, did Marco Rubio change my thinking of him. Many of us never thought that Marco Rubio would be this type of person. I've been looking someone right now. Do you think I'd tell you? Well, who the heck are you? Martha, you're sitting here on television on ABC just making stuff up.
On your program. Why would I do that?
Where is the pressure?
Of course, because you can't have a peace agreement. No, you can't have a peace agreement unless both sides give and get. You can't have a peace agreement unless both sides make concessions. That's a fact. That's true in virtually any negotiation. If not, it's just called surrender. And neither side is going to surrender. So both sides are going to have to make concessions. So of course concessions were asked. But what utility would there be of me going on a program and tell you we've wagged our finger at Putin and told him you must do this and you must do that? It's only going to make it harder and less likely that they're going to agree to these things. So these negotiations, as much as everyone would...
The problem with talking to Martha here, and many people in the media, is that they can't deal with what they're seeing. None of them, other than not even their own contracts, none of them have been in a deal. None of them have sat across from somebody else and said, okay, what are we going to do here? I want this, I want that. Yeah, you can't have that. Well, I want this, and you can't have that. And you come to a meeting of the minds where both people don't like what they got, but what they end up at is acceptable. Tell us what's going on. None of your damn business. See, that's not what the media is used to. They're exposing themselves with every one of these programs. They're exposing themselves because they are used to being leaked to. They're used to having to deal with the Brennans and the Clappers and the Comeys and these people who were sliding them, hey, here's what's happening in the meeting. And now they look stupid because they have no idea what the hell is going on behind closed doors. Tell us, tell me, why would I tell you? And it shocks them because they're so used to going to a cocktail party, going to happy hour. Hey, so what happened back there? Well, just to let you know, here's what happened. Okay, got it. No, they don't know. And my main part of showing this stuff to you today is to say, now you can see they are in the same position as you are. They don't know crap. We all saw the same thing at the same exact time, and now they don't know what the hell's going on. And she had the chutzpah to ask him, so what'd you guys give up? Like I tell you.
Of it to be a live pay-per-view event, these discussions only work best when they are conducted privately in serious negotiations in which people who have to go back and respond to constituencies, because even totalitarian governments have constituencies they have to respond to, people have to go back and defend these agreements that they make, and figure out a way to explain them to people. So we need to create space for concessions to be made, but of course concessions were asked.
There is concern
from... So Marco's making the rounds, right? So that was Martha Raddatz from ABC, and then he goes on CBS with this same insufferable wench, Margaret Brennan. So you're going to love this exchange. And again, vintage Marco, he's becoming basically a consigliere at this point. It just takes her and then whacks her across the face. And again, she's exposing the fact that she doesn't know anything. She's going to lie. And the lie she starts here is, it's almost irresponsible. As a media person, you gotta have integrity. These people left integrity 5 exits back. It's never coming. It's never returning. Their integrity is gone, and hopefully people start recognizing it. Listen to this question.
Europeans that President Zelensky is going to be bullied into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow. Can you?
No, it isn't. That's not why they're coming as back. That's not true. No, but that's not.
Okay, so her question is, they're coming because they're worried you guys are going to bully our friend, our compadre who's hiding so much of our money, me meaning the deep state, her being part of the deep state. You're going to bully Mr. Zelensky. Where in the hell would she have gotten that information? Who would have told her that these world leaders are coming here because they want to make sure to babysit the little Ukraine nut job? She actually just said that on the set to the Secretary of State of the United States, who's working hand in hand with the president, and said they're coming here because you guys are going to be bad. You're going to be bullies. Marco's like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
That's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming.
That February Oval Office meeting
here
in front of television cameras where President Zelensky.
Do you know how many meetings we've had since then?
Oh, no, I know. And I was just up in Alaska watching the one with Vladimir Putin where a red carpet rolled out. No,
but it was Zelensky.
Oh, my God. I saw a red carpet. Well, you got a red jacket on. That's different. You rolled out a red carpet for Putin. What are we going to do? The monster in the closet. Oh, my God. You rolled out a red carpet. You're seeing it. They can't. It makes them seethe. I want you to go back and look at CBS or ABC shows from 2016, 2015. It's Russia, 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 Russia. And then you think to yourself, well, it's been 10 plus years. Has he done anything to us? Nope. But they've sold it. And they continue to this day, the day before the big meeting tomorrow. She's like, well, you're going to beat up on Zelensky. And for some reason, you rolled out a red carpet. Oh, my God.
We've had more meetings. We've had one meeting with Putin and like a dozen meetings with Zelensky. But that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're coming here tomorrow because we've been working with the Europeans. We talked to them last week. There were meetings in the UK over the previous weekend.
And they said President Trump was going to demand a ceasefire.
As early as Thursday. No. But you said that they're coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming here tomorrow. Oh, this is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming here to...
Hold up, Marco. Got to give you stuff for that one. You guys are stupid. Another narrative. They burst something else because they have to keep the monster in the closet. You guys, what in the hell does bully mean? How do you bully a world leader? Even though Zelensky is quite an idiot, how are you going to bully somebody? This sounds like we're talking about the Mean Girls movie. You're going to bully them. The dude controls an army, doesn't he? Yes. He's the leader of his country, yeah. How do you bully somebody like that? Because if he felt bullied, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not talking to you anymore, Donald. I'm done. There's no bullying. Or if Donald felt bad, like the last meeting, get out. And you ain't getting any sandwiches. So step. Or like when he showed the guy from South Africa, hey, well, I've got this stuff here. Let's go to the videotape. Oh, kill the whiteys. What does that mean? Is that bullying? Are you people so soft that you don't know what bullying is? Wow, amazing.
Tomorrow, because Trump is going to bully Zelensky into a bad deal. We've been working with these people for weeks on this stuff. They're coming here tomorrow because they chose to come here tomorrow. We invited them to come. We invited them to come. The president invited them to come.
But the president told those European leaders last week that he wanted a ceasefire. The president went on television, said he would walk out of the meeting if Vladimir Putin didn't agree with one. He said there would be severe consequences if he didn't agree to one. He said he'd walk out in 2 minutes. He spent 3 hours talking to Vladimir Putin, and he did not get one.
What does that tell you, Margie? What exactly, if you listen to the words that came out of your mouth, what does that tell you? Everybody listening right now, she just recanted pretty something good there, yeah. He said this, he said that, yeah. But he didn't do it. He didn't walk away. So what does that tell you, Margaret? Because if you take what you just said and you couple that with the rest of the world is coming as well on Monday, what do you think that means, Margie? You can't be that obtuse. I'm serious. I understand you got a liberal hive mind going on, but if what you just said and what you're seeing don't match, maybe it's your inability to look at the big picture. I think you're not understanding what's going on here.
So there's
because obviously things happened during that meeting. Well, because obviously look, our goal here is not to stage some production for the world to say, oh, how dramatic, he walked out. Our goal here is to have a peace agreement, to end this war, okay? And obviously we felt, and I agreed, that there was enough progress, not a lot of progress, but enough progress made in those talks to allow us to move to the next phase. If not, we wouldn't be having Zelensky flying all the way over here. We wouldn't be having all the Europeans coming all the way over here.
Did I not say that? Did I not say that? It's like, oh, he didn't tell them. But I told Robin this morning, for the nothing is happening crowd, for the nothing is happening crowd, for those who are saying, oh, nothing's happening and blah, 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 I might venture to say, you're right. Nothing is happening. It already happened. It already happened. You're waiting for it. It's already done. Barry, you're going out on a limb here saying it's already done. Well, there's a whole lot of stuff happening in the next 12 to 24 hours that you need to explain to me if you don't think it's already done. So let me just break for a moment here and just show you something. Tomorrow, Zelensky is being joined at the White House by Giorgia Meloni, Emmanuel Macron, Secretary General Mark Rutte from NATO, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, and Finland President Alexander Stubb. And we just found out that Keir Starmer from UK will also be here. So my question to you, Margie, you think these people just want to come see how Washington, D.C. looks now? Hey, look, guys, look what I did here. It's all clean. You think that's why they're coming here? You're telling me this. Here's what she's not understanding. If all of these world leaders are getting in their jets and they're flying across the big pond and they're landing here, and then they're bringing their entourage and their security vehicles, and they're all leaving on short notice, or so we think. See, that's another thing. We're all thinking that all of a sudden they decided to come to the United States. I'm going to take you back. When this got announced, I was thinking, well, the plans are already in place. They just wanted to announce that they were coming. I think the meeting was Putin to say, we get this done. We're going to hold off on any announcement until everybody's here so we can show a worldwide coalition. I don't want to announce anything with just Vlad. I personally feel that deal is done. So what's happening on Monday, I would have to, you're trying to convince me, Margie, that all these world leaders are just upping themselves and coming over to America with all of their details, security, vehicles, whatever, putting their business in their countries on hold to come here to see if we can make a deal. What's a bigger stretch? Is it a bigger stretch to think that the deal's already done? Or is it a bigger stretch to think all of these people are flying over here just to hang out and see what happens? That could be possible. They could all have nothing else to do on Monday, August 18th, which is a great day. They're all just going to fly over here and just hang out in Washington, hoping something is about to happen. If you believe that, then you're taking more of a leap than I am by saying the deal's already done. You see, I also feel, and I'm going to show you the video, that the little guy from Ukraine knows he's not getting bullied. Maybe he's getting protected. Maybe he's coming here because he needs protection. Whoa, something, food for thought. We'll continue here.
Now understand and take with a grain of salt, I'm not saying we're on the verge of a peace deal, but I am saying that we saw movement, enough movement to justify a follow-up meeting with Zelensky and the Europeans, enough movement for us to dedicate even more time to this. You talk about the sanctions. Look, at the end of the day, if peace is not going to be possible here, and this is just going to continue on as a war, people will continue to die by the thousands. The president has that option to then come in and impose new sanctions. But if he did this now, the moment the president puts those additional sanctions, that's the end of the talks. You've basically locked in at least another year to year and a half of war and death and destruction. We may unfortunately wind up there, but we don't want to wind up there. We want to wind up with a peace deal that ends this war so Ukraine can go on with the rest of their lives and rebuild their country and be assured that this is never going to happen again. That's the goal here. We're going to do everything possible to make that happen if it's doable. It will require both sides to make concessions. It will require both sides to get things they're asking for. That's how these deals are made, whether we like it or not.
They made some other concessions.
All right. So Marco pretty much says, you know, there's two options here. Either we cut a deal or we're hitting Russia with sanctions. But he didn't say what you're hitting Ukraine with. Because you got two players here. You got Putin and Zelensky. And so the option is we're going to hit Putin with sanctions. What are we going to do to Zelensky? Margaret doesn't even understand what's going on, this big picture. It could be absolutely mind-blowing come tomorrow. And the Democrats aren't ready for it. And some rhinos, this is big money. But there's more to it. I'm going to get to that in a little bit, but there's more to what's going on in Ukraine. There's been more to it for quite some time. You heard some of it. It was all part of the Hunter laptop and everything else. You know, hey, I looked at my watch and I said, son of a bitch, he got the money. He fired the prosecutor. There's a whole lot in Ukraine that the deep state and the media don't want you to know. Some of it is kind of evil. We're going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to stop here and take some of your comments and hear what you guys have to say. Zelensky's going to have to make a decision to live or not to live. Yeah. And what a better way to be protected than every world leader coming and going, we got you, man. We're not going to let this stuff happen to you. We know they're putting pressure on you. We know what's gone on in Ukraine. We've known for years what's been going on in Ukraine. The party's over. The bus has come to the final stop. No more money for you. No more protection for the country. And this guy over here is ready to hit the button. So you don't have any other choice. If they consider that to be bullying, no, that's just reality. The only way you can continue this charade of a war is for other people to prop you up. So now we've talked to the guy with the big guns, and he's like, well, if you get him to agree to this, we won't turn it into a parking lot. This thing is over. One way or the other. The other way isn't going to be nice. So we can help you because we know what some of these other people are doing. Somebody put, yeah, Ukraine is the money laundering capital. It's also another capital. Let's see here. Somebody asked me, would I talk about the accident? You know, this is about the illegal newcomer who got his driver's license and killed the people down here in Florida. What's there to talk about? It's just another example of the scourge of these people that they left in. I mean, people are dead. And they're dead because of the fact that they gave this guy a license and then gave him a CDL, and he decides to try and do a U-turn on the turnpike or whatever, and people are dead. Let's see what else. Who did that song, Turn It Into a Parking Lot? That was Joni Mitchell. Way back. The media is an embarrassment. There you go. I can't say it, but you can see it. That's Ukraine. We're going to talk about that in a second. Let's see what else we got. I feel that the leaders from Europe do not want peace and are trying to sabotage the peace agreement. So you're thinking that Trump is bringing these people over who don't want to have peace? Okay. We have more Ukrainians coming in. Where'd that go? We have more illegal Ukrainians coming in. Now Trump has no idea. Yep, I see all this stuff here. Biolabs revelation tomorrow. I don't think it's a revelation. I think they know. He said it. We have it all. They know what's going on. Ukraine has actual Nazis. I tried to delete my post. No, let me see here. Yes, and yesterday people eating in Springfield, Ohio got hurt when a Haitian drove through the building. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Any roll down the tunnels. Come on, stay focused, people. Stay focused. There's other stuff to talk about. We can get there. All right, so since you guys, some of you are off on a different tangent here, let's continue. All right, this is Steve Witkoff talking to Jake Tapper.
On several of the regions. I'm not going to discuss it now. The Ukrainians are aware of it, as are the Europeans, and it was significant, and that doesn't mean it's enough. But the point was that we began to see some moderation in the way they're thinking about getting to a final peace deal. And so we feel that that's encouraging. Now, we briefed the Europeans immediately after we were done with the summit. We briefed President Zelensky directly. He deserved that, and the president got right on the phone with him. And then we had the Europeans on the phone, and I think everybody agreed that we had made progress. Maybe not enough for a peace deal, but we're on the path for the first time. We are seeing accommodation more than we've seen in the past, certainly more than we saw in the last administration. And that's encouraging. Now we have to build on that. And we have to get a deal for the Ukrainians that allows for their self-determination, allows a protection of their sovereign borders. We have to make sure that we achieve that, and the president is intent on getting to that place.
Russia is still unsuccessful in Donetsk region. Putin has been unable to take it for 12 years. And the constitution of Ukraine makes it impossible to give up territory or trade land.
All right, so Putin wants eastern Ukraine. And so Zelensky's like, the Constitution says it's impossible. Well, nothing is impossible. Everything is a negotiation. The Constitution of Ukraine, which I have not read, more than likely it does say what he says. You do not have the ability to give this up or that up. It has to be voted on. But it also says if somebody else is about to bomb you into oblivion, you probably need to make sure that you take care of the safety of the Ukrainian people. You can't have it both ways, bro. You can't say my Constitution says I can't give it to you, and then say at the same time, I can't protect you. Good luck. Boom. You're gonna lose it. And so if you really, and those people in that part of Ukraine don't want to be there anyway. They want to be with Russia.
Yes, the territorial issue is so important. It should be discussed only by the leaders of Ukraine and Russia at the trilateral Ukraine, United States, Russia. So far, Russia gives no sign that trilateral will happen. And if Russia refuses, then new sanctions must follow.
You're in no position to say that. You can't give sanctions. So what he's trying to say is that Trump has to go do new sanctions. This guy is begging for it. Dude, you got no hand, as they said in Costanza. You don't control anything. If he wanted to roll tanks and go boom boom, you're done. You are done. And the rest of Europe knows it as well. So is he going to get bullied? I wouldn't say bullied. Maybe a stark amount of realism. Let's tell you where you are. You got a small country. You don't have much. You ain't have any money, and we're not giving you any more. And these other countries said, yeah, we're not going to give it to you either. So good luck. If you leave here without a deal, we can't help you, and they aren't going to help you. So at that point, what are you looking at? If you know you can, and that's maybe why she was talking about being bullied. No, you can't win. There's no way you can win except for other people bolstering you up. And if they don't bolster you up, you're done. Go meet your maker. So that's not being bullied. Here's the reality of the situation. New president, not giving you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. Not going to happen. So let's see what happens. And here's Peter Ducey telling you about the meeting.
Who is in Anchorage, Alaska, with the very latest on everything happening. Peter, to you, good morning.
Good morning. And there are reports crossing the wires right now that European leaders have been invited to the White House on Monday as well. So that would be President Trump, President Zelensky, and some European partners to be named later. And it means that even though there was no ceasefire as a direct result, an immediate result from this summit in Alaska, the meeting was not a complete waste of time.
If you had to grade it on a scale of 1 to 10?
So I think the meeting was a 10 in the sense that we got along great, and it's good when, two big powers get along, especially when they're nuclear powers. We're number one, they're number two in the world, and it's a big deal. That's a big deal.
This is why Zelensky is coming to the U.S. President Trump says it was determined by all that the best way to end the horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is to go directly.
Who's all? I want you to read that. The best way to end the horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is go directly to a peace agreement, which would end the war, and not a mere ceasefire, which oftentimes does not hold up. So back to what Margaret was saying. Hey, he said there was going to be a ceasefire. Well, Trump said, we're past that. We don't need a ceasefire. We're going to an agreement. We're going to try and hammer this out. So she's talking about days old news, and she's not even referencing this post.
Peace agreement, which would end the war, and not a mere ceasefire agreement, which oftentimes do not hold up. Between now and then, though, Zelensky is warning on X, based on the political and diplomatic situation around Ukraine and knowing Russia's treachery, we anticipate that in coming days, the Russian army may try to increase pressure and strikes against Ukrainian positions in order to create more favorable political circumstances for talks with global actors. And next up could be a meeting of all three leaders. Putin wants it to be on his turf.
Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you very much.
Why would you see that possibly happening? Again, none of them talked about it. Why would you, at that moment when supposedly the media is saying all talks broke down and there's nothing to discuss and it was a nothing burger, why would our president smiling go, well, yeah, that might be pretty cool. We'll let you know. Oh yeah, I could see that happening. You saw the same thing I did. But for them, it was an embarrassment. It looked like Putin won. No, I'm looking at, in this frame right here, two guys smiling at each other. Yeah, I could come to Moscow. They'd take a lot of heat for it, but I'd do it. Why would you even be talking like that, jovial, if you were at an impasse and it didn't work?
We expect that on Monday, President Trump and President Zelensky are going to talk about potential land swaps, parts of Ukraine that Zelensky would be comfortable essentially giving Russia control to. We have to wait, though, to find out exactly where on the map that would be.
Well, I think we know where on the map that would be. I think we it's the eastern part. They want it. And so this next piece, that's pretty short, minute and a half, pretty much puts the exclamation point on what I've seen today and over the last day or so with the media and the Democrats. You guys, and again, I'm not saying anything you haven't seen yourself. You have the media completely beside themselves, screaming because President Trump was even cordial to another world leader. Losing it. Red carpet, oh my God. So you see the media and Democrat politicians fighting against peace, openly fighting against peace, rooting against peace. You see the media and Democrats rooting against safety in Washington, D.C. and in other cities. So I personally believe if this deal gets done like it's supposed to tomorrow, conceivably, if it's not already done, it's the end of the Democrat Party. It's the end of the deep state. They'll still fight a little bit because they have to, but it's over. And I really do believe the Democrats are completely done. Let them go ahead and endorse and wrap their arms around Zorhan, the communist in New York City. Let them go ahead and do that. That shows you diagonal breathing is getting real deep. Let them wrap their arms around Jasmine Crockett. I don't even heard AOC much lately. She's not even far enough down left for them. So they're done. There's nothing there. It is a rotting corpse. Just needs to be given to the vultures. Listen what Victor Davis had to say about that.
Collapse because by any classical definition, Mark, they lost the 2024 popular vote, the Electoral College vote. They don't have the Congress. They don't have the White House. They don't have the Supreme Court. They're 30-70 on the 30 side of all these issues from crime, the environment, energy, the border, illegal immigration. And they're frustrated. They're angry because now Donald Trump...
And if I could add to that, they've lost every lawsuit that they tried to stop with all these temporary restraining orders. Every single one of them that Pam Bondi's office has appealed, they've lost them all. They're merely putting stuff in the road, speed bumps. They can't stop anything. They can't win anything. And at this point, there's nothing there for them to grab onto. He said 30-70. I got to believe it's 10-90 on some of these issues. I don't know anybody who said I'd rather live in a crime-infested city. Nobody. I don't think anyone, even if they're Democrats in the chat, would say I want to live in a hellhole. Somebody should put up all these posters out there. They're real simple. Would you rather have the National Guard in your city or the gangbangers? Just tell us. Just take a big national poll. Don't tell me about your fascism and your Nazism and all that crap. Do you want National Guard or you want the Crips and the Bloods? That's your choice right now. The police don't do anything. So either nationally run law enforcement or gangs. the people were always talking about binary. That's pretty much a binary choice. You're either going to get shot at and can't go out of your house, or you're going to be safe. It seems pretty simple, doesn't it? Democrats make you think, no, nobody wants this. We'd rather have the crimes. They're out there protesting this week. I was asking Robin, I'm like, how the hell can you be out in the hot summer daytime protesting about what's going on with the safety of Washington, D.C.? How can you be protesting because Trump's about to try and end the war in Ukraine? How can you be protesting that? By the way, if you want to protest, really show us about, you want to protest, why don't you do it at night? Show us you're behind the BS that you're speaking, and then good luck getting back to your car. It's like walking through a safari in Africa. Good luck. The lion's back there just looking at you. Yeah, you got that sign up. Yeah, oh, but you got a watch on. Yeah. Good luck. Don't talk your BS during the day, walking with your little sign. Go there at night. Wait till the cover of darkness comes, and when your rally's over, because you got some safety in numbers, but when you disperse, good luck getting home to your car. Oh, what car? Where's my car?
Was doing something they never imagined anybody would do. He's not treating the symptoms of the progressive pathology. He's talking about the sources. So he's going after the institutions that indoctrinate people in the university, NPR, PBS, the elite law firms. And that's setting them on fire because they understand.
Absolutely. I forgot to add those in. Your bastions of indoctrination are being chopped down. So you're a liberal, you're sitting back, you're not getting any more USAID money. You're not going to do all this other stuff. And now your colleges and Department of Education and this and that and everything else. And now we're going to do some redistricting in here. What do we do? You're done. You're absolutely done. You're like a snake with its head cut off. The rest of the body's still flopping because it doesn't know it's dead yet. And that's what Victor's saying here.
And that they always exercise power irrelevant of whether they actually had political power. They had cultural, social influence through these institutions, foundations, the university, K through 12, corporate boardrooms. And now when he went after woke and ESG and PBS, it's a whole new counter-revolution, and they're melting down. I don't even think there is a Democratic Party right now. It's just...
I don't even think there's a Democrat Party right now. Damn, Victor, you went that far. They're already dead. Dead. Done. The only thing propping them up is the media. That's it. That and old people going through Washington or something, trying to figure out, what the hell, what the hell, we don't want safety. But I can't wait to get the hell out of here. Yeah. Or meanwhile, the black people in town are going, we got white people talking about. Where the white women at?
An amalgamation of a bunch of different groups, but they're all way to the left. And we shouldn't fool ourselves about New York, Mark. I think it's not going to be, they may win, Mondami may win, but he couldn't win anywhere else, I don't think, other than these blue cities. And that's a minority of the population. So they're going over the cliff, and like any addict, they would rather go over the cliff than quit.
What an analogy there. People who need that next fix would rather get that next fix than quit. There's no stopping. They've in poker terms, they've fully pot committed at this point. By the way, I got to ask SV. SV, put in the chat how you did this weekend. They're fully pot committed. They can't get out. They can't extricate themselves. They are Monsters, Inc. Democrat, Inc. They have to have you afraid and completely bamboozled, and they need the media to do it to you. I'm going to show you something that it was just awesome with Hakeem Jeffries, and it looks like deer in the headlights. There's nothing he can say, and it goes on and on and on. I mean, these people are so done. And the problem is like, remember the movie? I love movies, but you remember the movie The Sixth Sense? And he's like, they don't know they're dead. They're talking to him. I see dead people. But why are they walking around? They don't know they're dead. And he was talking to Bruce Willis at the time because Bruce Willis was dead. You're talking to other people and they're all dead and you don't realize you're dead. So you're going to have to hopefully find some little kids who look up at you and go, hey, you're dead. And the more people who start seeing the dead people will make their party realize, you're really going to put a communist in New York City and think that's going to endear you to the rest of the world? You think people are happy looking on Twitter and seeing a parade of Somalians walking down a Minnesota street? You think that's okay? You think the other people in Minnesota are like, what in the hell is this? What? No, they're fleeing. They're fleeing your areas. So your areas are going to turn into little Afghanistans because nobody wants to be there. Nobody with a clear mind. I showed a video the other day. It's on my X profile. And there was this guy, and he was saying, we got to do the death to America. And he's sitting there, yeah, so what do you think? Oh, we got to get rid of America, Western way of life. Huh? But he's got that accent and stuff. And standing next to him is his girlfriend. And she's got the full headgear and scarf. And the problem is she's got big blue eyes. I'm like, hey, blink twice, honey. we think if you need help. And she's like looking like this. I'm like, Ahmed here is talking about killing everybody you know, and you're sitting there with him. Blink. This ain't gonna end well. Not for these people whatsoever. Oh my goodness. Hey, let me talk to you real quick about these knives. The knives we've got from Patriot Addict. These guys are really doing a lot of stuff to help this channel, and a bunch of you guys seem to like it as well. I've told you about many a times the Trump red knife. In fact, many of you bought this red knife, and then they came out with an improved version with basically the same features called the Trump signature blade, and that's this knife. And it comes in this nice packaging, and you open it up and you pull it out, and here's what the new knife looks like. Pretty much the same functionality as the other knife. It's got the window breaker here so you can get out. It's got the seatbelt cutter thing right there, and little blade up under there so you can cut the seatbelt if you're stuck. And you got the quick action opening. It's not a switchblade, but you can get into it pretty quickly. Oof, that's sharp. And it's got the President Trump's, they got a stencil of his signature right over here. There it is. You can see it better. I tilt it to the light. And it's extremely sharp. I mean, when I'm just opening it, demoing it here, I mean, you can see that blade. It's really sharp. Good size knife. Same as the other one. Good weight to it, good balancing. It's a really functional knife. It's not something that you'd buy and put on a shelf and never look at again. I mean, you'll actually use this knife, especially if you're walking through Washington, D.C. at night because of all the idiots are going down. You might want to keep one on your belt. But the best thing about this knife is it retails for about $70, but you get it for free. Absolutely free. All you got to do is pay some shipping, and the cost to ship the thing is about 12 or 14 bucks. Just go to the QR code right here or go to berryknife.com. berryknife.com. It's a deal only available here when you guys watch my shows. And I thanks to Patriot Addict for working with me to do that. So go to berryknife.com or go to the QR code right there. And again, I thank those guys for working with me on the show. Let me take a few comments. That senator is a tool of the globalist. I agree with Victor David. The Democratic Party does not exist. It is the Communist Party of America and has been for a very long time. Definitely. Yeah, I keep the knife on my bike bag. Yeah. You can use it, and it's very, very sharp. Make switchblades legal again in the blue states. They should, that's for sure. What else here? So I'm going to show you something now. Somebody guess had trouble. The radical Islamists have plans of their own. Believe it. Their agenda is to overthrow the United States and replace the U.S. Constitution with Sharia law. They've stated it. They say it straight up. They don't even try to hide it. That's the best thing. They don't even duck. Let's see, what's this one say? President Trump knows Zelensky and Putin were going to go to D.C. for peace treaties, so that is one factor of cleaning up Washington. No telling what Democrats have had planned. Good point. Good point. There's something else they're doing in Washington, I bet. I've said it from the beginning, the Trump-Zelensky phone call in his first term. I honestly think Zelensky is establishment puppet, thus Hillary's arrogant statement. Agreed. I completely agree. Let's see here. I don't understand why Sniffy Z needs a chaperone. Man, I think it's more that they are bringing all these people in for the ability to have a unified front for the people who don't want peace. There's a lot of people who don't want peace. You know, war is very prosperous. It makes a lot of money for people. All right, so let's go into the next segment here. This next segment, I am going to have to be very delicate because I'm talking about this on YouTube. So I'm going to use some innuendos. I'm going to talk to you about some things that might make some of you pretty uncomfortable. Because it's something that a lot of us know, but a lot of us don't talk about. We don't like to put this stuff front and center. And one of the things we don't like putting front and center, maybe I can show you a picture, is when we talk about what's really going on in some of these other countries. You know, I put this up, and I said, my show tomorrow will put some real focus on Melania's letter. Read it, then read it again. And there's a huge message. And so when I'm speaking this message right now, and I'm showing this to you on the screen, I think right now you're starting to understand where this is going. What kind of person would be behind some sort of fence, gate, bars that can't get out, who are stuck there, and are used as props for people's own personal gratification. If you go on Wikipedia of all sources and just put the word Ukraine, child, you know what, you'll be amazed just to see how long Ukraine has been a hotbed for that activity. A long time. Which is another reason why, in my estimation, the deep state has been so worried about Ukraine. How they wanted Ukraine as their playground for money laundering and all other kinds of stuff. And I was shocked when I did my research prior to this show yesterday, and I was looking at all the stuff known about Ukraine and that kind of activity. You could actually just put it in Google and I'm like, whoa, people didn't even scrub this? It's all there? Look for yourself. Put Ukraine, child, you know what, begins with a T. Put Ukraine, women, T. And you're going to see all kinds. Ukraine, sex, T. And it just goes like that. Just a whole list of stories that the media never talks about, never brings it up. It's taboo for them because they know. These people are college graduates. They work for media outlets. They understood what was being said. It's not just about Epsteiniacs. It's about Ukraine. And if you can keep the focus off of it, because none of them talk about Ukraine. None in that regard. So I want to show you something President Trump posted. And it really wasn't President Trump who posted this in terms of, well, he posted it, but it wasn't about President Trump. So we're going to read something here, and we're going to pause and read it deeply without getting myself in trouble. This is a letter of all people sent on the 15th, 2 days ago, by, of all people, the First Lady. Melania Trump decides she's going to weigh in on this peace deal. I don't even know how many people in the media talked about it. I didn't see anybody. I didn't see anybody talk about this third rail because they'd have to explain it. So let's read this. Dear President Putin, every child, and you could stop right there and you know where it's going. This isn't about Russia and Ukraine and fighting and war. Every child shares the same quiet dreams in their heart, whether born randomly into a nation's rustic countryside or a magnificent city center. They dream of love, possibility, and safety from danger. Every child. Of course they do. Then why are you protesting in Washington? I don't know. But kids dream of safety from danger. Being safe at home and having dad and mom make sure that everything is okay is the essence of a childhood. You don't have to worry. You got nothing to worry about. You're good. Eat your dinner, be a good kid, and you're going to be fine. That's how I grew up. That's probably how you grew up. And yeah, some of us had worse parents than others, but I think pretty much, for the most part, I think it's another 90-10 issue. Yeah, we want our kids to be safe. Well, I think so. She goes on and says, as parents, it is our duty to nurture the next generation's hope. As leaders, the responsibility to sustain our children extends beyond the comfort of a few. Undeniably, we must strive to paint a dignity-filled world for all, so that every soul may wake to peace and so that their future is perfectly guarded. As you're reading this, does it sound like anything about a peace deal? No, it doesn't. She's talking about kids. Let's continue. A simple yet profound concept, Mr. Putin, as I'm sure you agree, is that each generation's descendants begin their lives with a purity, an innocence, which stands above geography, government, and ideology, until such time as that innocence is taken. Yet, in today's world, some children are forced to carry a quiet laughter, untouched by the darkness around them. A silent defiance against the forces that can potentially claim their future. Mr. Putin, you can single-handedly restore this melodic laughter. And I backed away from that letter and went, OMG. Hey, Vlad, you can save the kids. You, not soldiers. You can save the children who's had their innocence taken. He's not talking about bullets and bombs. There's a deep darkness she refers to that's happening in Ukraine. A deep darkness that's stealing innocence of children for generations. Do your homework and you'll see, like, oh, God, you're going to look like this, and we can't talk about it here. You can talk about it in the chat, but you're going to go back and go, oh, no. Is this what this war is all about? Is this what they've been trying to guard? Yes, the money laundering, but see, we all know a lot of politicians are crooks. I don't think any of us would be surprised if we went, oh yeah, he got like 10 million. Oh yeah, that person got 15 million. I don't think we'd be surprised at that. We'd be mad, but we would, But if we find out that people have been flying to Ukraine because they've either been involved in the merchant of children or partaking in the darkness, I think people are going to want to have heads on a platter. And then when we find out that the media knew, and the media has been complicit, I know we'll have heads on a platter. So what would make people the boogeyman, and make Russia the boogeyman around all this? Well, that's what she goes through in the next paragraph. In protecting, again, not from war, the innocence of these children, you will do more than serve Russia alone. You will serve humanity itself. Such a bold idea transcends all human division, and you, Mr. Putin, are fit to implement this vision with the stroke of the pen today. It is time. protecting the innocence of these children. It is time. And when you think about Trump and Putin talking, that's two world leaders. When you think that the First Lady, who's from over that area, decides she's going to come out after receiving a beautiful necklace from Russia and say, do it, bro. Let it all hang out, help these kids. A stroke of the pen and it's done. It is time. It's interesting when you read the letter, as I did. Hopefully you can see it now in front of you. When she says, you are fit. Not you are empowered. You are fit. Meaning you know, you got your head, you got your wits about you. You know exactly what I'm talking about, Vlad. You're fit to implement this vision with a stroke of the pen today. And my question, and I'll ask you guys the same thing. What's he going to sign? If there's no deal in place, if there wasn't anything put in front of him, and this was 2 days ago, right after the meeting, and she wrote that, what's he going to sign? Because with the stroke of the pen today, she says, not Monday. Not Monday when you find out everybody is coming in from every other, big leader is coming from other parts of the country. She says, you can do this today. And I sat back and went, oh man, I missed it. I didn't know. I started doing my research. You can do yours. And you're going to find out how bad things have been for these kids and what Ukraine is really known for. And it took our First Lady to drop that, and nobody really talked about it. Yes, I see a lot of people posting, hey, look what Melania wrote. It's not. I'm like, did you read what she wrote? Did you read it twice? Did you see what she put in there? Man. There is a monster in the closet, and it's not Putin. There's a huge, heartbreaking monster in the closet over there. And she's like, let it go. Show it. Let everybody see what's been going on in Ukraine. Everybody thinks it's about wars and drones and bombs, and that ain't it. We need to get the innocence of these children as a priority. And when I read it, it kind of chilled me because I didn't know it was that bad in Ukraine. I didn't know that that was a haven for this. We knew it was money laundering. We knew it. I had no idea. And she just opened a bomb on these people, that a bigger bomb than Vlad could ever drop. She just got the world's eyes on this and go, whoa. What are you talking about here, Melania? What do you mean? And so I talked to you guys a lot about comms and what's said in there. If that ain't a comm, I don't know what is. If that's not some sort of communication meant for a bunch of people, a word to Putin, which I'm sure Trump has already talked to him about, but more so, that is a comm for the rest of the world. Maybe that's why they're all showing up on Monday. Hup, I'm done. If Melania's going to start dumping on us, hey, sign away. You're done, buddy. Think about it. Now I'm at a point where I'm really thinking about things and not listening to the media, but actually digging in on exactly what these people are talking about. What happened? SV was texting me. That's huge. So, I don't know, just like the media, I don't know what it means. I can read, you can have your ideas, but something is definitely below the surface of this. Media is not going to tell you. You're going to have to read, watch, see what happens, see what the other leaders say tomorrow, if they say anything. Whatever they say in public, we don't know. But listen tomorrow. There's going to be lots of information. And if you haven't read that letter, it's all over X, and it's probably on her personal profile as well. Big news as far as I'm concerned. Many people screwing with kids is just so disgusting. Yep, I found out recently that's what y'all must be talking about. Yeah, you guys are reading it right now. If you go online, you'll see. I always felt that Melania is a victim. She could be. A lot of women we know have been. Yep, I read and I heard. Where is that? I read and I heard Ukraine is a center of the world. And so if you begin digging down that rat hole and start seeing how bad Ukraine is, again, it is such a touchy subject. I can't even, if I were to put it up on the screen here, people would freak out, and they probably, I don't say they take down, but they ding the video. So I have to be very outside the box on this and talk about it. Because it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let me take a few more comments here. Yeah, he's fit because he knows. Follow the money always. Exactly. Oh, yeah. On Sunday, you're right, Sandra. Biblical times. Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised. There's so much going on here. Lots of evil going on in Ukraine. I mean, if you haven't looked, you will go in and you will be shocked at what you find out. Yep, I knew about this a year ago. Some have talked about it for a while. Exactly. Never. Bet you didn't hear it in the media. Putin mentioned it in his interview with Tucker. It is a haven. Melania works with children. She has done her research. Absolutely. I learned this a few years ago. No wonder the Democrats fought so hard for Ukraine and some GOP. Yeah. Yep. I want to show you something. Robin had sent me. Oh, Midas is barking. I'm going to go a little bit off script here. And I want to show you something. I'm not going to talk much about it because I don't want people to freak out. Let's see if my computer is working with me in terms of my messages on X aren't coming up. Hold on. I'm trying to dig into my messages. All right, so hold on a second. I'm gonna bring it up on my phone, and then once I bring it up on my phone, I can post it on X, and then I can bring it up. So because I want to talk to you about it. Where is it here? Hold on. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, yeah. So this person. All right, so I'm gonna retweet something so I can pull it up on the screen. All right, 1 second here. All right, so I'm gonna pull this up on the screen so you guys can see it, and you guys can tell me. Well, some of you will be like, nah, Barry, that's not. As we're talking about this stuff with children. A lot of you have wondered, what is Barry talking about? Where's he getting some of this stuff? And some of you guys know specifically. So I'm just going to let you read this one. Why did it not post? It should have posted. Hold on a second. All right, here it is. Imagine trying to talk or dunk on Q during a time period when everything being released or declassified was something Q talked about 8 years ago by people the 17th letter told us to pay attention to. And this is the part, everybody knows a lot of people who talk about it, but this is the part that really kind of weirded me out. He goes, hey, Grok, is this true? And here's Grok's response. AI's response to what they're pulling in from across the interwebs. Partially true. Recent July 2025 declassifications like ODNI docs on Russiagate as a manufactured hoax and Obama admin's 2016 election monitoring align with the 17th letter's drops on deep state spying and collusion narratives, especially Epsteinak's multiple FISA abuse. However, Abstiniak's files remain contentious, with MAGA frustration over incomplete releases contradicting the 17th letter's claims. Sources ODNI and The Guardian. So now Grok is saying, yeah, the stuff that was talked about a long time ago by that 17th letter is becoming true. Never thought I'd see that day. Bet you a lot of you never thought you'd see that day. We're all kooks. We are all absolutely crooks. Kooks. Barbara Boulanger. They rescued 35,000 children from tunnels. They were being used in... I can't even say that word. If we say that word, that's like an instant boom. But buckle up, people. I get the feeling a lot is coming to light and will be exposed. Just have clarity. Pray for clarity. Pray to discern what people are telling you, what just believe this. Believe what you see, and little of who's saying it. Maybe the one person would be Trump, but even then he's doing head fakes, so we don't really know what's real and what's not real. Definitely not the media. They don't have a clue, and they're freaking out. So just understand, pray for clarity at this point. Speaking of praying, just wanted to let you guys know, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, we're doing another prayer meeting. So if you guys would like to join us, fine. If not, that's understandable. But 10 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to do a prayer meeting. And hopefully Beth will be here. Hope she's better. I'm crazy. I'm not that crazy not to understand that they're crazy. I don't want to be around all that evil. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It is really crazy. So, yeah, Melania dropped that. You guys make of it what you will, but read it and just think to yourself, why would the First Lady drop that on the eve of peace talks that we're entering into right now? She had no reason to enter into that. She's not part of the people negotiating, but she dropped that. So, it chilled me. All right, let's continue here. What do I have here? Okay, so I did the Melania letter, and I don't want to, stay on that too long. You guys can obviously see what the heck for yourself. Pray for it, and then understand. Do your research. It's very simple. You put it in Google, it all comes up. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. All right, so I mentioned to you earlier about Hakeem Jeffries being completely stuck like a deer in the headlights when he starts getting questioned. And as you're listening to this piece, I want you to remember what Victor Davis said, Victor Davis Hanson said, when he's like, the Democrats are dead. Because I almost feel watching this interview, it is indeed like the movie The Sixth Sense. I see dead people. I'm looking at a dead man, figuratively, not literally, because he's got nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it was funny watching the guy from CNBC actually pose this question. Check this out.
Join us right now, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. There is so much to talk to you about this morning, about everything that's going on in Washington, about the BLS, the Fed. We could talk about NVIDIA, Democratic Party. But I want to start with this. And by the way, mea culpa on me too. But I'm curious where you land. For the last several months, the Democratic Party, for the most part, has been publicly suggesting that because of these tariffs, that the economy was going to falter, that there was going to be a massive recession. And for whatever reason, that has not happened. And I'm curious why you think that hasn't happened and whether you think it was a mistake to be as critical as you have been.
All right, so here's the big thing with this. And I mentioned this earlier about these people having no business knowledge whatsoever. You're asking a Democrat politician who can barely probably tie his shoes, and these people keep getting elected, a serious financial business question. Huh? Come on, Timu. Let us hear this.
Well, good morning. Great to be with you. Donald Trump promised on day one that costs were going to go down. Costs haven't gone down. they've gone up. What we have seen, in fact, is job creation go down almost to...
They can't even help themselves. They look right into a camera. He heard the question and said, which lie am I going to tell first? And how am I going to continue to compound on these lies? And they must hope that the people listening are as stupid as they are. They have no integrity, no ability to look in the mirror, and they don't care. It's Trump's fault.
Record low levels. And so there is reason to believe that the economy is not moving in the right direction. The erratic tariff policies have created a great deal of uncertainty in the business environment, and uncertainty, of course, doesn't allow for the type of explosive economic growth that we will all like to see here in the United States of America. I think there's no...
I ain't even going to tell you what Robin and I did this weekend. I'm not even going to bring it up, but maybe we live in a bubble down here in South Florida, but OMG, the business community is rocking. Absolutely rocking down here. Everything from being able to take care of the big, beautiful bill and the different capital expenditures that you can write off. If you guys aren't listening and digging into the CapEx ability for what you can do and what you can write off, you're really hurting yourself. And I understand a lot of people on this show are on a fixed income and don't have the ability to do much investing. But if you are, and you're not taking advantage of what's going on with the big, beautiful bill, you're at a loss. And I don't mean that in any way, shape, or form to be bad towards people who can't invest. I'm saying if you can invest, the door's wide open, man. I mean, these are times that I always hoped for. I didn't need him or any president to give me anything. I needed a president to give us opportunity. Just get out the way. Get out the way, let business prosper. And damn if it isn't prospering.
Real basis to conclude that Donald Trump has been successful, particularly as it relates to the core issue of driving down the high cost of living in the United States of America, which is too high, which was his fundamental promise to the American people. Costs aren't going down, they're going up.
I saw somebody today that showed a big roast. And they said, this thing is like $55 a pound. And it was a 6-pound roast or whatever. And they're like, it's $350 for this piece of beef. The libtard didn't know he was holding A5 Wagyu in his hands. And I'm like, Robin, these people, you don't understand, the prices come down on the Wagyu. If you haven't shopped or purchased Wagyu beef, you wouldn't realize that you're getting a discount. It's going to look horrendously expensive. But it's a cut of beef that is typically really expensive. And I'm thinking this guy's trying to think he got Trump. And then people in the chat, in the comments were like, dude, that's Wagyu. Put it down and run. You're making yourself look stupid. So people are walking through the supermarket trying to find the most expensive thing possible and go, look, Trump did this. It's so expensive. And they don't even know what they're holding up. They're just, again, zombies out in the Democrat Party trying to cause problems, not even realizing what they're doing. That people who can buy Wagyu are like, damn, that's a great deal. What store is it? Can I come by? I'd love to get that roast. You moron.
I don't know about deflation and costs coming down. All I can tell you is that the inflation rate itself was 2.7%.
All right, so if you haven't seen this, I forget his name, Kiernan, the guy from CNBC is going to read off a number of accomplishments that President Trump has done. And he's going to read them off to Hakeem and go, well, if everything's so bad, how do you explain this?
Most recent read year over year versus it got to a high of 9% under Biden. Stocks are at record highs. Unemployment is 4.2%. That's full employment. The GDP was 3%. The border is actually secure. We've got trade deals with the EU, Japan, many more in the works, and trillions of dollars of foreign investment coming here. Iran's nuclear ambitions have been set back indefinitely. And I just wrote down a few things. So I just have to ask you, where is the calamity that you're talking about? And it almost seems like for Democrats, socialism is the answer to these problems. Or, I don't know, an end of democracy or something? We just don't get it.
Well, actually, I'll tell you what we stand for, Joe. It's pretty clear. As Democrats, we believe in a strong floor and no ceiling. In America,
you mean bumper stickers, a strong floor and no ceiling. So if you believe in no ceiling, why are you saying millionaires and billionaires are bad? What about the people who believe what you're saying? They want no ceiling. They want us all to succeed. No, that's not true. Everything that comes out of your mouth and Elizabeth Warren's mouth and everybody else's, you want a tight ceiling. You don't want people to have no ceiling. Remember, Kamala said, we all start at the same place, but we all end up at it. We need to make sure everybody ends up at the same place. You don't want high ceilings. And what in the hell is a strong floor?
You work hard, you play by the rules. You should be able to live the good life. And there should be no ceiling on your success, on your capacity to do anything in the United States of America. That's the great promise of this country. At the same period of time, there should be a strong floor.
Y'all have to let me know what the hell that means. You got a Democrat saying you should enjoy the quality of life that you were able to get for yourself, but you know what? We're going to go for communism, which is completely against that no ceiling. You just backed her, Kamala Harris, who said she was going to tax you on unrealized capital gains. That's the complete antithesis of no ceiling. They don't even have a clue what they're talking about anymore. They're dead. They're a dead party. And let them go ahead and chase, what's his face? Zorhan the Great up in New York. So I'm seeing a couple of people not understanding but what I was talking about the beef. I found the video. And here's the video. The guy's showing this piece of beef selling for $60 a pound. Oh my God, Trump stuff. I can't believe that this costs $60 a pound. And it actually got community noted finally because of so many people commenting. And it says, the beef is labeled A5 Wagyu, the highest grade of premium Wagyu beef. American-raised Wagyu ribeyes can cost up to $60 to $120 or more per pound. So if you're getting it at $59.99, you're getting a deal. And so that's some of the people are like, tell me what store that is. Tell me what store that is that I can pick up that way I go for 50% off. And the libtards don't even have a clue. No clue whatsoever. and just so you guys, somebody freeze framed it. And here, let me show you the freeze frame. This guy freeze framed it and goes, that's Wagyu. That's not normal beef. Stop it. And he zoomed in on it and it says right there on the label, A5 Wagyu. A5 Wagyu. and it's today's day. I mean, 820 sell by. It's 5.8 pounds at $59.99 a pound. That's a fantastic deal. That's a great deal. It's $350, but it normally could be as much as $500 or $600 or $700 for a 6-pound roast, or ribeye rather, and it's boneless. I don't eat red meat, so, but I live with a carnivore who'll be like, where'd we get that? Because that's crazy. Oh my God. Yeah. a libtard vegan, that's why. They don't even know. They're out there protesting. Look at this, man, $350. Put it down. You obviously can't afford it. And you're complaining about it because you don't even know what it is. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. He wants no rules for boys and girls bathroom and sports. They come up man or woman. That's his version of a strong floor. Oh, goodness. They dig for anything to diss Trump. Crazy. And I'm not saying, and nor am I passing judgment on people who can or can't afford Wagyu. That's not the point. The point of the matter is he didn't know what he was showing on the video. Look at this stuff, man. I can't believe that... Put it down. Put it down. Oh yeah, that's top of the line stuff. Peeps, I just learned something new. I had no idea what Wagyu was. I'm a veggie head. Stick around. We like to enlighten and bring more information to you. But yeah, Wagyu is an amazing piece of steak from what I've heard from people. Again, I'm not a big red meat eater. I'll eat a hamburger once in a while or some ground turkey. But I'm not a big, ribeye guy. Please invite me to dinner if that's on the menu. It's funny. Robin and I went to a steak restaurant here. And she opened it up and they had a Wagyu special. And she's like, can I buy it? I'm like, honey, if you want Wagyu, go ahead. And I was like, she looked like, what's her name? Meg Ryan in Sleepless in Seattle. Like, it's a piece of meat, Ooh. Ooh. Oh gosh, it was too funny. It's all Trump. It's all Trump's fault. I have yet to eat Wagyu beef. Don't worry about it. You're not alone. You're definitely not alone. I know what it is and I can afford it but that's because I don't buy it. Oh God. Other than that, the price of beef is not bad. Exactly. Someone will pay out the Wagyu for that steak. They sure will. Somebody said it was an episode of one of Chef Ramsay's shows. Better to have the best wine to eat with your Wagyu. See, I don't even drink wine either. I don't like the taste of it. Maybe I don't like wine. Don't like red meat. I know I'm not a good MAGA. Like, you don't eat steak? Nope. You don't drink wine? Nope. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. All right, everybody. Let's go to the next segment here I got for you. This is how bad the media was over the last 24 to 48 hours.
It was just very unusual, atypical, and I think we're all awaiting, the readout because the way that it felt in the room was not good. It did not.
Now, she got roasted. Jackie Heinrich got absolutely roasted. Notice what she said there, which is very, very telling. How it felt in the room. The room where you and all your comrades were in. You were Caitlin Collins and Margaret Brennan. It didn't feel good to y'all. I mean, that should have been right there. We should have seen, she's telling on herself. She's telling on herself right there. The mood in the room. Who gives a shit about the mood in the room? We all saw it. We all saw it with our own eyes. They didn't like that. Look at that. There's a handshake. It's funny. This is one of the few handshakes where I've seen that Trump wasn't on the top side, but he's smiling. They like each other. Oh, wasn't what we expected. The mood in the room. Who gives a shit about the mood in the room? Say the news. What's the news? Oh, they said they'd meet each other in Moscow. They laughed at the mood in the room.
Like things went well, and it seemed like Putin came in and steamrolled, got right into what he wanted to say, and got his...
It goes. He's given honors, sort of say, come here. This is a get-out-of-jail visit for him. And there's a big deal.
And it's extremely important for Putin domestically.
Yeah. Yes.
This will play really big.
Legitimizes
the
him at
American
home.
president actually applauds. I can hear it. See the articles now. That American president applauds Putin as he arrives and rolls out.
So tomorrow, when Giorgia Meloni and all the other leaders of the world come in, if he applauds and shakes their hand, that's good. But we need to have the monster in the closet. Putin bad. They will have nothing left if there's a deal struck. They're completely done. They have to have Putin as the butcher, as the bad guy, as the big guy from, Monsters, Inc. They've had it for 10 years. They've built their entire careers on having Putin to be the big guy in Monster, Inc.
At the red carpet.
Literally applauds.
I don't think that Trump coming out of this has realized that his comments about Putin, saying bullshit and then not doing anything are actually the way that he needs to approach Putin. I mean, based on what he said today, he still seems...
I think this isn't the way he should approach Putin. Maybe you should get your ass off the CNN set and go run for president. Then we can all say, I don't think Abby should approach President Trump this way. Go ahead and run for office because, what you think doesn't matter. See, that's the problem how these shows have become, because their entire shows aren't about, hey, what happened today? No, it's what I think happened today. And I understand, I'm doing the same thing. I'm putting my opinion onto what they're doing, but I'm telling you, it's an opinion. They don't posture themselves as though they're opinion providers. They posture themselves as news reporters.
He's very convinced that his personal relationship with Putin is the roadmap for getting out of this conflict. He talked about how, their relationship got messed up by the Russia stuff. I mean, he keeps repeating that, if only they had been able to get off on the right foot, none of this would have happened. I think Trump still believes that that's all that will solve this. When Putin keeps saying... No.
You don't know Trump. And I point this stuff out because people who watch these channels, you have to realize at this point, you're not watching news. There are very few reporters anymore. They don't report because and you saw it at that joint statement thing. You saw it with your own eyes. You could have turned around with a microphone. What would you have said? If the camera was on you, after hearing what Trump and Putin said, what would you have said? Well, this was awful. It was. I can't believe this went so bad for the Americans. President Trump completely capitulated to Vladimir Putin. In fact, he was seen smiling and shaking his hand on the red carpet as he assimilated and, capitulated to Trump as the planes were flying over. It was awful. I'm like, no, you wouldn't have said that. You would not. They did. That's exactly what they said.
No, it's not. He's not taking that.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the magic words of Vladimir Putin, next time in Moscow.
How she just saw on TV.
Okay, y'all gonna have to tell me in the chat why that bothered her. In the words of Vladimir Putin, next time in Moscow. So? Hey, I came to your house. Next time you come to my house. That's bad? Why? We watched President Trump go all the way to North Korea, but somehow, no, don't go to Moscow. Can't do that. That's a bridge too far. But it's Moscow. It's a city. We can't go to Moscow? Oh no, that's where the monster lives.
How after their conversation, Putin bombed something like a retirement home in Ukraine, killing innocent civilians. We saw a flash of anger with President Trump after that. He referred to Vladimir Putin's bullshit, is the word he used. Apologies for anybody out there offended by that word. And I'm wondering if you think Donald Trump leaves this high-stakes summit where nothing was achieved.
Boy, these people are going to be pissed off tomorrow. See, they're reinforcing nothing happened. And I'd love to see, Jake, how are you going to tell people if nothing happened, all these people are coming over for a meeting in the White House? Because nothing happened. And they repeated it all weekend long.
Angry and likely to to bring in more sanctions.
Jake, the president didn't seem angry when he came out here, but one thing I've learned from covering him for 8 years now, at least, is his view of something, his perception is often shaped by the coverage of it or subsequent conversations that he has when he's out of earshot of the Russian.
No, Caitlin, that's what he leads you to believe. Trust me, we've been seeing President Trump and how he just destroys you on a daily basis like it's a sport. You're an evil woman. So obviously, when he sees you talking, you're not shaping his perception. He just looks at you with disdain and disgust. Shaping his perception. You're from CNN, right? Get away here. Go away. You're such an evil woman. He says it to you to your face. But I guess the people who watch CNN don't understand that.
And he's talking to his aides on the plane back home, or he's on the phone with these world leaders, or he's on the phone with Zelensky himself, who have been part of this. And if they use that moment and, in those conversations, that shapes his reaction to this. That is very much a possibility here, Jake. But the other part of this is they were going into this summit. Aides were setting expectations low in recent days because they were fearful that they were not actually going to reach a ceasefire while on the ground.
What she just said there, she has no clue. They were setting expectations lower because they were fearful of not getting into an agreement. She has no idea why they were setting expectations a certain way. Perhaps they were setting expectations to basically mold what you guys were going to say, to not let the cat out the bag. I don't know, but I know they weren't fearful of things, not especially since what we've seen transpire
around here in Anchorage. And so obviously, though, the president himself made clear what he wanted, and it was that ceasefire. He did not get that ceasefire. And Russia, while the strikes have calmed down some in the last 2 weeks, has continued to strike in Ukraine. Maybe not at the same level they had been, in the last month or so as those moments were happening with the First Lady. But obviously, that is incredibly telling in and of itself. And so that is a key question here of how the president decides to handle this going forward. He said that he believed there was a 75% chance.
Well, if you're Europe, you're quite worried now because you just saw the president of the United States achieve zero, and they will have to ask themselves what more are they willing to do, knowing that they too could be thrown under the bus if Russia ever.
Eric, you're looking rough, bro. I don't usually talk about people's appearance, but you're looking rough. Maybe a lawyer told you you're in a bolt hole somewhere. Because, again, and I only put him in here because everybody knows he lies and is full of crap. But it's just funny that, to me, the media and all the people surrounding the media, including the Democrat politicians, are on the outside looking in. They do not have a ticket to this movie. They're seeing the trailers. They're seeing stuff happen on the outside and on the set, but they have not gotten a ticket to the actual movie. And they are not getting a ticket to the actual movie. And so as this movie plays out tomorrow and the days after that, they are doing exactly the same thing that you will be doing, except you don't have to go on MSNBC and prostitute yourself.
Moved farther west, but as far as objectives, I was hoping to hear that there would be a trilateral meeting. That didn't come out of this. I was hoping to hear there'd be a ceasefire. That didn't come out of this. And I was hoping to at least hear about the territory that would be proposed or exchanged by both sides. That didn't come out of this. Look, Alicia, I don't know if Donald Trump is or is not a Russian asset. I do know.
That's why I kept this in. That's why I kept this in. I'm reinforcing, as you tell a story, you reinforce things. So I'm reinforcing they need the boogeyman. You're seeing it now, and you're going to see it for the next day. You're going to see it however long this goes on. The boogeyman is real. I have to keep telling you that, oh my gosh, the boogeyman. And we think he might be Putin's puppet. He might be a Russian asset. Oh. Dude, if he was a Russian asset, someone would have showed up and put two in the back of your head, probably. If Putin is such a bad guy, and he's former KGB and all this other stuff, do you think that maybe, just maybe, there could have been a asset team, a real asset team looking for you? Oh, then again, probably not, because you got nothing. You're a dead politician, figuratively speaking. These networks and these politicians, again, need the boogeyman. They have to have Monsters, Inc.
Oh, that at press conferences like this and like at Helsinki, he certainly acts like one. And that is cold comfort for anyone in the United States, particularly in our military, that the commander-in-chief would be so flattering of and so charming to a ruthless dictator like Vladimir Putin.
It was.
See? So I want you to close your eyes and think of a time in the not so distant future where they don't have Vladimir Putin to bandy about. What happens to the media when they don't have Putin? That's why I paralleled it to the movie Monsters, Inc., because if there's no more monsters, if they can't scare anybody else, these people are absolutely useless. They can't, Nazi, fascist, racist, white supremacist, Putin puppet. Okay, it's all done. It's all done. You can't say any of that anymore that makes any sense to people. But, you know, we just watched a slate of NFL preseason games. This is the big week. College football is getting ready to start again. Dolphins sucking again. But football is back. And if there's anything you know about football, or even baseball, or any sport, including poker, SV, you got to tell me how you did. If you know anything about sports, you know if you're losing, you can't continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. It will not work. Hey, listen, if for some reason they keep stopping this pass, hey, this guy can't hit the curveball. Well, you just keep throwing it. The Democrats in the media, they just keep going with the same pitch, the same play, over and over and over again. And so there's no way they can win because he's got the Supreme Court, he's got the House, he's got the Senate, the redistricting. He's beating you in the courts. And here you are still talking about Putin. And your only redemption is to say, well, you know, we're just not left enough. Let's go ahead and bring in some commies up in New York. Yeah, that's going to work.
Striking Obama, Susan Rice. It is an out-of-body experience, I will say, to watch things happen in a way that is so different from how things would have been done in an administration you worked in. And that is even more so, I would bet.
She worked in the Biden administration. She just said things would have been much different. We saw what was different. He was wandering around out in the field. They had to go get him and bring him back. And what are you talking about? Things would have been so much different. Yeah, I guess you're right. They would have been so much different. but oh my gosh. But you're not going to believe what Susan Rice says. I mean, literally unbelievable.
For you, given you were the national security advisor, what is your takeaway from the meeting today? What did you make of it?
It was, in short, Jen, a big victory for Vladimir Putin. He walked off his plane onto a red carpet to a clapping Donald Trump and a flyover of American military aircraft, an extremely warm reception, and then they get into the President of the United States limousine, one-on-one with no staff and no interpreters. And Putin apparently speaks good enough English to carry on a conversation. I hope, Jen, that he did not drop a bug in the backseat of the president's limousine as a former.
That's how little they think of the American people. He got in the back of the limo with them. Oh, my God. That wasn't bad enough. He was on the red carpet. Oh, my God. And do you realize he could have put a bug inside the car? She said that on national television. And they didn't cut the mic. They just let her say that. They let her embarrass herself. They let her embarrass America. They let her completely trash MSNBC. Jen Psaki, you actually put somebody on who thinks that because Putin was in the back of the car that he could have planted a bug inside. And I'm thinking to myself, can't think about it. These people are crazy. I mean, crazy. He put a bug in the back of the vehicle. Oh, God.
KGB chief, because having Putin in that limousine is really quite an extraordinary gesture. And then he lets Putin speak first at the press conference. But the big picture is that this is the end, from Putin's perspective, of his international isolation. He's welcome onto American soil for the first time in almost 2 decades outside of the UN. And he gets a warm welcome from Trump and gave nothing in return. Stuck.
You see now? We're 2 hours in. I don't have to keep repeating it. You understand now, right? You can take your day and the rest of your evening and understand this is their bat poop crazy moment. They are now realizing, number one, for the first time probably, the deep state's not in control. This is what I'm talking about, agonal breathing, to the point where the only thing you have left is to say he might have put a bug in the car. And oh my God, he was on U.S. soil. Yeah, that monster has been excised. Because now everybody who saw Putin on U.S. soil and saw him smiling and the two of them yakking it up, you cannot no longer say with complete integrity that, yeah, it's bad. Because what happens? Oh, that's right. He may have put a bug in the back of the car. And with you guys and your administration, it would have been much better. I can honestly say without any equivocation that there's nothing from the Biden administration that was considered much better. Nothing.
To his hardline positions about Ukraine, and he walks away with no sanctions against him, evading sanctions for the 4th time. He walks away with no ceasefire, vague discussion about an agreement that nobody understands. And he's in a stronger position than when he arrived. And Trump, frankly, it's not clear what he got, except some, backhanded BS about how a war wouldn't have happened if Trump had been president, which is something Trump loves to say. And that literally might be the only thing Trump got out of this whole charade.
If in fact,
so President Trump, Putin saying that there wouldn't have been a war if Trump was president. You acknowledging that that's good means you guys were completely ineffective for 4 years. See, she lied so much. I don't think she realized what she just said. Well, I think that's the only good thing that came out of this. You mean insulting you? Because that's what he just said, and you just agreed that's the only good thing that came out of it. Well, you were the ones. He just said if he were president, there'd be no war. Meaning the other guy had no flipping clue. They're stuck. It's like watching something on rewind. It's a Truman story over and over and over. I'm like, wow. I can't even believe it's happening. When I'm looking at this stuff to put the shows together, I'm thinking to myself, do they not even listen to what they're saying? And who's watching this stuff and thinking, he's right, the war wouldn't have happened if Trump was president? What's that mean? That means Biden couldn't stop it, you idiot.
he brokers a peace agreement between Ukraine and Russia, one that does not sell out Ukraine, then yes, I'm with Secretary Clinton, and I'd nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. This is today's poll question at Smerconish.com. Put it up on the screen. Make sure you're going and casting your ballot on this. If President Trump brokers a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine that Ukraine finds acceptable, I was very careful to put that in the question. I didn't just say, should he get a Nobel Peace Prize? First of all, they've got to resolve the war, and Ukraine has to find it acceptable. And frankly, I don't know how you'd vote no on that. I don't know.
This guy's time on CNN is coming to an end because he's questioning, like, I don't know how you nuts would have a problem with this. Yeah, there's no way. This is what we want. How would you have a problem with it? You're on the wrong network, bro, because the crazies are like, no, nothing Putin does, nothing.
I'm prepared. Let me just say this. I proved this to you last week on air when I covered my eyes and Catherine asked me to predict, what's the outcome of the poll. We learned a couple of things. I don't cheat on these things. I really don't know what the results are. I anticipate that President Trump is going to come out on the losing end of this stick when we come back with the results in just a few minutes. But I don't get it. I truly don't get it. That will be Trump derangement syndrome. Because
yeah, he's done. Change networks, bro. Get a podcast. Do something. They're not going to keep you on. And the nuts are going to run you off of CNN. You're thinking too clear. You have a reasonable brain that's telling you, hey, you people are nuts. You're letting people in the CNN audience know they're nuts. They're not going to keep you. Just go someplace else, bro.
how could you say if he negotiates a fair peace that he's undeserving? I don't understand it. I really don't. I did advance for Vice President George Herbert Walker Bush, so I pay particular attention to the staging of these events. And I thought that the criticism was unwarranted. We forced, here, Tony, was this guy's name Tony? We forced Putin to walk a gauntlet of F-35s. As a B-2, flew overhead, I presume the same type of an aircraft that dropped that bomb on the nuclear facilities in Iran. I mean, I think there was a good message that was given to Putin as to American strength. And for making him feel warm so that Trump could try and cut a deal, I have no problem with that.
Nobody with a brain would have any problem with that. In fact, Robin and I, and probably many of you, have gone to air shows. And I remember the feeling the first time I saw the B-2 fly overhead. I was like, what is that? Oh my, and you just feel a patriotic sense. And so seeing President Trump put that up while they're meeting wasn't a bad thing. It was patriotic. Look what we got, Vladdy. You ain't got one of these. But the media, they just don't get it. And the problem is they never will. They never will because they can't. They're not allowed to see through these things. It's just not possible. Let me see what's in here. Oh, Patriot Addict wants me to talk about the Berry Pack. All right, so we're going to talk about Berry Pack, and then we're going to do some super chats, and then we're going to see what's about to happen tomorrow. All right, let me just push this button. Okay, all right, some of you guys may not know about the Berry Pack. We got this whole thing. All right, so you know about the red knife. And I showed you the new knife right here with the signature on it, the 45-47 knife. So those are two items, right? You got me so far? You got two items right there. You got the hat that's too small for my head, but I will put it on anyway. You get this. So I'm building a pack for you, a berry pack. So you get a hat. You get both knives and the hat. Then we're going to go over here, and I'm going to pull out of my stack of stuff. I got a flag for you. Look really good on the back of your pickup truck. And it says, President Trump, make America great again. You got that, all right? So far, you're looking at the flag, the hat, both knives. But wait, there's more. We also have for you the Trump blanket. Now, I understand it's hot as hell in the summer right now, but as football season comes along and you're going to want to go to tailgates and stuff, this baby will keep you warm. It is a nice giant blanket. So for those of you with math problems, you got the blanket, you got the hat, you got the flag, you got both knives. So we're talking at this point 5 things, right? 5. And then I moved it so you can see it, but you've got the replica of Trump Force One right there, the airplane model. That normally goes for $250 by itself. So just to recap, you get the Trump Force One plane right there, you get the hat, you get the flag, you get the blanket, and you get both knives for under $100. Under $100, and all of these things are functional. 2 knives, flag, blankie, hat, right here, here's the hat, and the model back there. Just go right here and you'll be able to bring it down, go to the QR code and click on it, or you can go to berrypack.com, berrypack.com. So you get all that stuff, all of it, so you can enjoy it for under $100, just for being a viewer here of Fanfare. That's it. That's all you have to do. Nothing else. All right, so what time is it? It's 5:15. We've been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Let me take some comments. I use my blanket under my AC. Yeah, some people laugh at that. Like, well, why would you have a blanket under your AC? When I'm out there watching TV with Robin, she bought me a hoodie blanket. Then I put that blanket around me. Then, I put my socks on, and then I'm all ready to watch television because she keeps it a nice cold. And then she got the ceiling fan going. So I'm sitting there. Midas is like, make some room. I'm getting underneath it. Well, why don't you guys just get up and turn down the AC? Can't do that, man. Can't do that. Can't. Barry showing all the good stuff. Thank you. Yep, me too. Just light enough to use with the AC. Exactly. Hope they, what's this here? 99 here right now. Heat index of 110. That sounds about where we are as well. Let me go here. What's this? President Trump is huge metrics above the MSM. It's actually painful to watch these intelligent mutts. Hey, Beth, how are you doing? I wanted to just call you out. Hope you're feeling better, honey. Hope you're feeling better. My aunt confiscates my blanket, then I have to confiscate it later. Oh, gosh, that's funny. I do cold to keep my dog snuggling close. Yeah. Well, see, some of you guys who don't live in the South may not realize we're like, hey, can you turn it down to like 69? And it gets real cold. And then you bundle up. And you're like, well, I'm from Connecticut. She's from Merle's Inlet, South Carolina. So we're both used to watching TV, like bundled up and stuff. Plus, the other thing is when you get in the pool and you're out there, even if it's a 100-degree day, when you're at that point where your fingers start getting parched and stuff, and the blood goes all the way from your fingers, and then you come in and it's cold as all get out, and then you got to wrap up before you can get your bathing suit off, and then you sit and snuggle real quick. It's fine. Somebody says, thank you for the live stream, and God bless you and your family. Thank you. And don't forget, tomorrow, 10 o'clock, we're going to do the, wait, where's this? Where was that? Somebody asked, we're going to do a prayer meeting, so meet us at 10 o'clock. Somebody said, Barry, how are those guns coming along? I'm telling you, when I'm not on, where's my thing here? You think I'm kidding? When I'm not on screen, I got my little table here next to my stack of stuff. Boom. Boom. You can do all the curls right here. I just step on it. Bam. Bam. They're coming along. Kiss my kid. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. All right, let me just show you. Just since somebody brought it up, I had to show you. All right. NC Coast, huge waves this week. Wow, 30 feet. You see, okay, so what Lori's talking about is the Hurricane Aaron, I think its name was. It came in and did a side swipe and is heading up to the North Carolinas. Be safe. Be safe. Air blasting full steam ahead for sure. I got to tell you, I don't believe Hillary Clinton said that I was generated by Hillary Clinton. She's got to be afraid. They got to be afraid. Yes, 10 a.m. tomorrow. 10 a.m. We're going to do a quick prayer meeting. What's this? Barry, how about we vote on your friend behind your chair? What the Robin's chair with the two holes there look like eyes watching us? I mean, I'll get a tape and make a smiley face on it so it doesn't look so ominous. What's the next movie going to be? So, where is that? I was going to do movie night tomorrow night. And I'm working on a couple different things. And in light of what's going on with Ukraine, maybe Sound of Freedom, maybe one of the other ones from that group of people. I'm looking. but I'm waiting to see what the schedule is going to be like tomorrow. Let me just see something. Let me see if they've posted President Trump's schedule yet tomorrow. When is everybody coming in? Hold on, let me see if it's up. I'll show you. Nope, not yet. So they don't have Monday's schedule up yet, but as soon as they do, we'll figure out what tomorrow is going to look like. I see the NFL has male cheerleaders now. Any thoughts, Barry? For me to address that, it would have to wait until tomorrow night on Rumble after I'm beyond the auspices of these people, these crazy freaks. Because, yeah, I got some thoughts on that. Yeah, you got that. Oh, the Mothman prophecies. That's a good one. That's a good one. Somebody says, can we call? There's nobody back there. Can we call the chair in the back the ghost chair? I never realized at that point. Looking at it, it looked like it's got eyes. That's for sure. What else we got? The Vikings are a joke. Somebody else did it too. I think it was the Bears. I'm not sure, but that was just awful. Sound of Freedom was an excellent movie. Yes, it was. Exactly. All right, so let me go ahead and... I loved Hillbilly Elegy. Thank you. I see no agreement tomorrow. Well, then a lot of people are coming in to eat some cake, I guess. I guess they, just showing up tomorrow to come on in, see how he's doing in Washington, and they'll stay the night, have dinner, get some Wagyu maybe. Maybe they're going to come in for some Wagyu steak, and then just turn around and go back to England, Germany, whatever. Because there's no reason else to come in here. Right. All right, so let me do super chats right now and let you guys have a great Sunday evening. Thanks for tuning in on Sunday. I really do appreciate it. I'm sorry I couldn't do last night, but we got swamped putting everything together. And it's funny, while I'm sitting here, my technical, I won't say he's a producer, but technical guy has been texting me and going, you got to put this, you got to do that. I'm like, all right, we'll work on it, put it together, and we'll see what we can do. All right, let's go. Tracy Cutler. Wow, thank you very much, Tracy. Deborah Akala, thank you. Mary Boston. Barry, I bet you had a great yesterday off. It was a great Alaska 2025 meet. Yes, I had a good night off last night. Got some good rest this morning. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a big week. Christina, Barry, you made me cry. I received my Bible. It is beautiful, and I will cherish it forever. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me, and thank you. I'm glad you like it. We had a backlog like you wouldn't believe, but Robin's getting them out there one at a time. And I mean, she's probably doing 20, 30 a day to catch up. And I'm happy, Christina, you got yours. We love it. We love it. Beth, how you doing? Thank you for all the love and prayers. They mean everything. I'm feeling so much better. Praising God for being my healer every step of the way. Thank you, Beth. I'm glad you're feeling better. David Yeoman, thank you. Contraband Zyra. Remember last time when Zelensky made veiled threats and somehow we were the bullies for pushing back? Bingo. Al Phelps. The monster in the closet is right behind you. Oh, gosh. Kelly Dublé. Double. Trump and Putin are fighting the same evil. Yes, indeed they are. Hockey Gramps. Any chance the heavy police and military presence is tied into tomorrow's meeting? Could be. Could very well be. Love it that all this is happening too, but while they're out of town. Thomas Irwin, media doorknobs, Z is a tool of the deep state and global idiots. Exactly. Mark of reality, Ukraine is not the center of the universe. DJT and Vlad had more important stuff to talk about. An earthquake right next to the RF nuke fleet, then there must be a meeting 2 weeks later. Yeah, that's another thing to think out of. People would think that all they were talking about was Ukraine. Interesting. Andrew Hessing, this meeting was about Ukraine, of course, but what materials were directly turned over to Trump about Hillary and others and what the quid pro quo. The media knows nothing. None of us do. We don't know what they did for all that time. Beverly, and then think about it also with President Trump. When he landed, he didn't get off the plane. He started making phone calls to everybody. What was discussed there? We don't know. We don't know. Wasn't Ukraine part of the? Yep. And harvesting? Yep. Go look that up. You'll be shocked. Franco, Barry, thank you for all your pre-show research time and work. Thank you, Franco. G. Fisher, Trump has mentioned the media being the enemy of the people many, many times. Once again, 100% correct. Absolutely. Jeanette, Barry, I think the people protesting are paid and don't live in D.C. No, they don't live in D.C. Number one, they're all white. It was funny, even Tim Burchett said, he goes, I work here. It's 50, 60% black and brown. You don't see any black people out there. Erwin, amazing how much you put on these shows every day all by yourself. Most will never know how much time and effort it takes. Thank you, and mahalo to you as well. Yeah, it's a lot of work trying to put it all together, and I appreciate that you noticed that. Deanne Hobbs, thoughts on all Muslim marching and trying to take over. What can the president do if their plan is to harm America? I think you're seeing it. He's going to take this to other cities. But, I mean, you can't stop somebody from marching. I mean, St. Patrick's Day. I mean, so we have the ability as Americans and in America to march, protest, whatever. So as long as they're not violent, there's not much we can do except vote them the hell out. Jane Cott, pray for peace in this world. It would be tomorrow's prayer meeting. That's exactly what we're going to pray for. Beverly Litton, I've heard harvesting is also involved in Ukraine. Ricky Williams, Barry, our First Lady, is likely talking about the tens of thousands of Ukrainian children kidnapped and being held in Russia. Putin's stroke of a pen settles this, as the First Lady said. Why is Russia holding those kids? Were they rescued? Or were they kidnapped? Like you say, kidnapped. What if they're rescued? Cutting edge. Even games are involved in this. Look at the problem, that Roblox game. Yeah, that Roblox thing. If you got kids playing Roblox, be careful. Biden has 200 acres in Ukraine. Robert McLean, maybe Putin invaded because of stealing of child innocence. Maybe Putin is actually trying to save them. That's what I'm saying. We don't know why those kids are in Russia. Beverly Litton, Romans 1. See, now you're going to make me do some homework. Claire Butterfield, thank you. Thank you very much. Beverly again, all the refugees need to be vetted before allowed into red states. Yes. Bielka, Ukraine was a pizza party with those orphan kids. Yeah, you know what pizza party is, you're going to have to go look that up. Condition base, Wagyu, June 2022, 9% inflation was $100 to $250 for 5 pounds. R2 squared, Zelensky needs to be removed. He is the problem. Moshe G, the way the media is talking about sound like a book I read called The Monster at the End of the Book. Chapo, media is like a therapy session for TDS. They go on, spew their hatred for Trump, then hope to feel better till the next day. They're going to have a lot of pain coming soon. Rick Williams, yes, Jackie Heinrich is engaged to Brian Fitzpatrick, one of the 2 Republicans who voted against the big, beautiful bill. Dig deep there. Digging deep there. VJ C-Class, Melania's letter. Wow, the Candace O. Macron issue where Emmanuel gets Trump involved to stop her exposing them in exchange for a peace agreement. Mr. Neo, God bless you, Barry and team. Thanks for always giving us the truth. I've always never believed that mainstream media, such false narratives. Thank you. And David Yeoman. And for some reason, this one didn't show up, but I want to. Nikki Hayes. Barry, take the wife out for a celebration for me. My boyfriend finally popped the question at a baseball game Friday night after the national anthem. Christina alerted the entire session for standing out on Cloud 9. Congratulations. Whew. Getting married. Love that. Congratulations to you. You got to get married. Oh, that's too awesome. That's good for you. Good for you. Oh yeah, got it. All right, so I think I got it. Let me just make sure SV is texting me, making sure I didn't miss anybody. That's fantastic. That is the absolute best way to end today. Nikki, yeah. Okay, yeah, he was talking about poker. That's the best way. You getting engaged, can't top that. So awesome, good for you. Good for you. All right, talk to you guys tomorrow. Okay.
Bye.